Bonjour and welcome back to French with Airlearn with me, Amelia. Today we're going to be diving into the world of French slang. Now, if you've ever visited France or dived into the world of French TV, media, novels, magazines, etc., you'll notice that the French of the everyday is very different to the French that you may have learned at school or in your classes. And that is because there's a massive difference between formal and informal French. And today I'm going to be showing you the basics of informal French and more specifically French slang so that you can go from sounding like a student to a native. We'll start off with some of the more basic informal usages of French and then we'll move on to the more specific French that you might see young people use, for example, French slang. So let's get into it. The first important thing to note with spoken French is that French people often shorten what they're saying quite a lot. And you might notice this most commonly with negations. So instead of saying je ne veux pas y aller, je ne veux pas y aller, I don't want to go there, often the ne, the negation, will just be dropped, giving us je veux pas y aller, je veux pas y aller. Still means I don't want to go there, just more informal. This occurs extremely frequently in spoken French, and hey, it's one less word for you to have to remember to pronounce. So, more examples could be je sais pas instead of je ne sais pas, I don't know. Think of it as the equivalent of the don't instead of the do not. It's like saying I don't know instead of I do not know. And bonus, je sais pas can be shortened even further if we squeeze the je and the sais together, giving us je sais pas. Another example is il aime pas le chocolat instead of il n'aime pas le chocolat, he doesn't like chocolate. And the reason I want to include this at the beginning of the video is because it will form the baseline of the rest of the French slang that you're going to learn in this video and that you'll want to emulate for yourself. Now, what you might notice in this video is that contracting words in French will be a key theme throughout and absolutely crucial to mastering French informal language and slang. Another example of a contraction that we can do, very similar to je sais pas, is knocking off the end of a word or squeezing two words together, contracting them. We can do this with words that follow tu, the second person singular pronoun, when the word that follows starts with a vowel. So for example, tu aimes le cinéma becomes t'aimes le cinéma, do you like cinema? As you can see, we've completely omitted the u in the tu by squashing the t next to the m, t'aimes. Now you've got the basics, let's move on to some more hardcore French slang words that you'll want to know. First up, we have un mec to say a man, a guy. Remember, these are all casual, so you wouldn't use them with your boss, for example. So you could say, t'as vu ce mec? Did you see this dude, that guy? Note the contraction in t'as vu, tu as becomes t'as. Next, we have un truc to say a thing, a thingy, like we would use it in English. And this is really popular because you can use it in a wide variety of contexts. For example, oh, t'as oublié ton truc sur la canapé. You forgot your thing on the couch if you don't know what that thing is called specifically, just how we'd use it in English. And see how we contracted the tu and the a to give t'as oublié again? So you can mix and match all these informalities, as French people often do, in spoken conversation. You might also hear the word pote quite a lot, which means pal or buddy. You can say this instead of ami, for example, so c'est mon meilleur pote. He is, or that is, my best friend. When it comes to French slang, there are a particular group of words that all have something in common, and I'm going to go through this now. So we learned the word for un mec, which means a guy, for example. So the female version of this is une meuf, which means une femme, a chick or a gal, to be more informal. What's special about this word is that if we take the spelling of une meuf, so M, E, U and F, and we rearrange the letters to take the second half of the word and put it against the first half of the word, we get F-U-E-M. Now, if we cannot ignore the U, does this word look a little bit familiar? That's right, F-E-M is at the beginning of the word femme, for woman. This is an example of le verlan, which is a very specific type of French slang that originated in the 1990s. It consists of inverting words to give them new forms, but keeping the same meaning, just a lot less formal. Even the word verlan is the inversion of the French word l'envers, which means the other way around. You'll come across a lot of verlan words, even if you don't know that you're using them. So let's go through some more examples. You might have heard French people say relou a lot in French, which is the verlan for lourd. So let's take the word lourd, L-O-U-R-D, and switch the end of the word with the beginning of the word, omitting the D, and it gives us R-E-L-O-U, relou. And you can use this word in the context of that's annoying. So if you say, oh, il est relou, that means, he's being annoying. Another good one to know is ouf, which is the verlan for fou, which means crazy. It's a bit easier here to see the inversion of F-O-U, fou, into O-U-F, ouf. You can use ouf to say something like, c'était un truc d'ouf, which means literally, that was a crazy thing. Remember we learned truc, which means a thing? As I said, we can use all these slang terms together to make it sound even more informal. So you might use this to say, t'as vu le nouveau film Disney au ciné? C'était un truc d'ouf. Did you see the new Disney film at the cinema? Ciné is short for cinema. It was crazy, as in, it was crazy good. There are lots of examples of verlan that you can use to spice up your everyday French, as well as shortening or omitting words altogether. All of these form informal French, or slang. And the more you pick up of them, the more you'll feel like you're speaking like a true native. So I hope these examples were useful to you and that you're starting to build up a picture of French language usage when it's more informal and incorporating slang. Let me know in the comments if you have any more examples of French slang, and I'll see you in the next video for more French language learning. Bonne continuation!